Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Out of Touch. This is episode 51 of Out of Touch. Squeaky chair. Whoa! Hey, what's going on, everybody? I am your chipper and jovial, and frankly, a little bit under the weather host, Kai Schwimmer. And I'm gonna be honest. I know I said that I'd be live sooner than I am. My apologies for that, everybody. I wanted to be live quickly. I wanted to be live at 7 MST. Hold on, brightness check. I wanted to be live sooner, but it's like my stomach today. My stomach is not feeling very good. I've been sipping too much mate. I have not allowed the lining of my stomach to recover enough, and it is taking a toll on me. Is what I believe is the case. What I believe is the reason for the stomach being upset. It's also still 1 billion degrees in my room, so it's another show without a jacket. I hope you guys don't mind just the shirt, no jacket, a little less professional, but oh well. And even just like having this done up all the way is even killing me, because this collar is just like a little too tight. So don't tell on me if I just undo it a little bit. It'll be the appearance of a done up collar. But hey, so that's enough complaining. My apologies, everybody. It's another apology. Hey, good to be back with you guys. I was debating whether or not I was going to stream, but then I kind of thought about it, and I'm like, much better to not lose the habit, because it's already been, a week without a stream, and I don't want to make that a habit at all, especially as we start to move into a real studio. So I figured I'd hop back on, even if it's just for a short stream, because we do have news to cover. Very exciting stuff. We're going to be talking about technology once again. And for those who don't know, not a big tech guy, not a big fan. Not a big fan of technology, me personally. We used to rail about technology all the time on this show before my mission. We've done it less so now in recent episodes, but my opinions have not changed too much. However, there is one opinion that has begun to change a little bit, begun to fluctuate, and that concerns, in particular, the utility of technology for the spreading of the gospel of Jesus Christ. That is something where, I'm willing to admit, I think technology exists and certain technological innovations exist for the spreading of the gospel to every nation, kindred, tongue, and people. And I'm willing to admit that. I think it's part of God's plan. That being said, technology has just run amok. We are in a mess of a situation. I myself, am a victim. I do my best to stay away from technology addiction, but we all have those moments where we're trying to be good, we're trying to lock in, we're telling ourselves that we're going to lock in, and what do? We're up late at night scrolling on TikTok, scrolling Instagram Reels. We tell ourselves we're going to lock in. What do? We pull up our phone, open the Instagram app, close the Instagram app, open the Instagram app again. Crazy. Tell me that's not crazy. Whenever that happens, it's just like, I feel so ashamed. I feel as if I've betrayed my own humanity. So we've known for a while that you had to do something about this. We had to do something about the technology stuff, because it's really run amok. It's really gotten way out of control. And so that's something we'll be talking about today, because we have finally found a little bit of justice. Batman has really made his way back into Gotham. The courts have done what they do. They have found guilty. Meta and YouTube for basically writing an algorithm and having some, features of their apps geared in such a way or created in such a way as to addict and, in that sense, harm a plaintiff. And they have to pay out something like $385 million for injuries. So this is very interesting. We'll read over the article from the New York Times there. But before we do that, I do want to get the announcements out of the way. Announcement number 1, last minute decision, but we have locked it in. I will be at CPAC this weekend. Niche internet micro celebrity at CPAC. I'm going to be there Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I'll get there Friday night, but I'll be there Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Sunday going to church, of course. It's going to be a lot of fun. Very excited to meet a lot of people who I've never met. Going to be meeting Ospil there. Going to be meeting Jack of all trades. Going to be meeting a lot of the college Republicans. So we're very excited to see all of you guys. It's going to be a very exciting thing. I don't know if any of you guys have planned to go, but if you do, I hope to see you there as well. So that's thing number one. What did I do over the last weekend, you ask? That's a fantastic question. Let me give you a summary. Let me give you a quick recap. Last week, BYU only has 1 day. BYU only has a 1 day, spring break, spring day break. So last Friday, I didn't have school, so I drove down to Vegas. I drove down to the grand old city of Las Vegas, Sin City. Drove down to Sin City and recorded a debate between Brian Shapiro and I was alongside Jackson Haberlin. I think it's how you say his last name, or Heberlin. This guy is super sharp. Jackson is super, super sharp. I was incredibly impressed with him. Thought he did a tremendous job. I've been posting some of the clips to my Instagram, my TikTok, and YouTube. And hey, you know, the kaiclips TikTok arc might be in full swing again, gentlemen. I posted these clips from the debate onto TikTok. One of them's at 250K. Hey, what's up, Frog Whistle? Good to see you in the chat. Brenosh, good to see you too. So yeah, 250K on one of these videos. The other one I posted last night, it's 14K. Not crazy, but you know, not bad at all. And it's frustrating because, well, hold on. I'll wrap up the announcements and then I'll get into that. I am all over the place. I just love it too much. I enjoy the tangents too much. And the studio, dude, the studio is never just right. It's never just right. Here, if I scoot you guys closer, there we go. That's better. Yeah, my desk is in disrepair. My life needs to be gotten in order. There's just a lot. There's just a lot that we have to work through. But let's start working through these announcements. So that's what I did last Friday. The debate went really well. I thought it was going to be super easy. And then in the prelude to the debate, Brian said something that communicated. He was talking about the Renee Good and the Alex Peretti shootings. And he kind of was talking about them in a way where I was like, whoa, you know, this guy actually really knows what he's talking about. Maybe this would be a tougher debate than I thought. Unfortunately, much to my chagrin, the content of debates with Brian Shapiro are 100% Trump-focused oriented. And it makes it impossible to talk about ideas. And there's a clip, actually. Dude, I need to make a clip of this. There's a clip where I ask him straight up, because we were asking him these hypotheticals, and he could not engage with the hypotheticals at all. And so we kept asking him these hypotheticals, and eventually at one point, because Jackson had asked a hypothetical. Yeah, Jackson asked a hypothetical. He was like, so if you're a judge and you know that there's evidence that this person that is going to trial has certainly committed murder, but the evidence is inadmissible, is it morally just for you to trump up some other charge in order to convict him? Is it morally just of you to make up some charge just so this guy who you know is guilty but couldn't be found guilty legally goes to jail? And Brian replies, well, that's such a ridiculous idea. How would it even be inadmissible? And so just barring the fact that there are a billion ways that evidence could be found inadmissible, just barring the fact that off the top of my head, they put it in late, they broke some law getting it, fruit of the poisonous tree. Barring the fact that there are a billion ways that I already know and can conceive of right now of evidence being found inadmissible, barring all that, dude, it doesn't matter. It's a hypothetical. We're not setting up the hypothetical to be as, true to the reality as possible, as long as it is, what's the specific term? There's a specific philosophical term. As long as it is valid, meaning it could occur, right? As long as it is valid, then we can use hypotheticals to test logic and to arrive at, conclusions, whether it's, what are our intuitions, whether it's what is the crux of our argument. We can do all of that even if the hypothetical has never happened in real life. Brian didn't really understand the way that hypotheticals worked. And we would that would happen consistently. We'd be talking about immigration. He'd say, well, but I don't believe in deporting people who aren't felons because what if they contribute to the economy? And I was like, dude, you could bring El Chapo over here and he could contribute a ton to the economy because, the amount of wealth being circulated just from drug sales and whatnot, it would have an economic, a stimulating effect on the economy. That is like, bro, sorry, King Laffy just distracted me. Now I feel bad. I'll get to that in a second, King Laffy. But anyway, we can use hypotheticals to test logic, but he took my hypothetical of like, okay, well, El Chapo, it wasn't even a hypothetical. It was literally just playing the logic. It was like, well, dude, you could bring in El Chapo. You could bring in a ton of people who could contribute a ton to the economy, but, degrade the morality of the society and who would still be here illegally. And his reply was, wait, so you're comparing a legal or an illegal immigrant who has never hurt a soul to El Chapo, to a murderer? And I just sat back and I was like, oh my Goya. Oh my Goya. Like, what the freak is going on? It was just like, we did not get past that issue of deportations the entire debate. It was a can of worms that we could not open or close, or we could not close, and we couldn't open anything else, except for in the last 10 minutes when we discussed banning pornography, where his logic was similarly inconsistent. And that's the base thing about being a Latter-day Saint. Because, when people say, so you're in favor of banning pornography, and they try to play that, to its logical conclusion. Oh, so are you also in favor of banning alcohol? You can just sit there and be like, you're not going to like my answer. You're not going to like my answer to that. But yes, but it's yes. That is the wonderful thing about being a Latter-day Saint, is you get to say yes. So that's what we did last Friday. Brian uploaded the live stream to his YouTube channel. And let's actually give it a look-see. Let's give a look-see to some of Brian's comments. And what's funny, dude, okay, you guys have to see this. You guys have to see this. This is actually a little crazy. This is actually a little bit crazy. Here in this debate, in order to get his thumbnail, he wanted a thumbnail where I look angry. Look what he did. Here it is. That's the thumbnail. That's not a real photo of me. What you're seeing right there, I've got the scarf. So it's from whatchamacallit. It's from the speech that I gave at the pro-life rally in Utah, at the Utah March for Life. But it's like that photo of me with this scowl on my face, that photo doesn't exist. That is an AI edited image to make me look angry. And at first I was like, what the freak? Like, why would you edit a photo to make me look angry? That's kind of messed up. Like, you're literally editing my face to ruin the optics of our debate by making me look like an upset, angry guy. But then I thought about it for a second, and I thought, there is not a photo that exists on the internet of me angry. So that's kind of a win. Like, the editor could not find a photo of me with a scowl on my face, so he had to resort to editing it. That is just living proof of my chipper joviality. Nobody can make that up. I'm so chipper and jovial that to make me angry, to have a photo of me angry in your YouTube thumbnail, you have to edit it with AI. That's next level. But anyway, let's get to some of these comments. There was technical difficulties for the first couple minutes. Let's get to some of these comments. Kai cleaned your clock in this debate. Well, let's sort by the top. Yeah, good. Shapiro's a nearly 46-year-old man with the mind of a 16-year-old girl. Hey, don't be so mean to the ladies. It is astounding that a grown-A man buys into the blatant propaganda that he does. He makes an over-emotional fool of himself on a daily basis. All right, well, this is a little mean. This is a little mean. Anyway, Kai has a very bright future. Can't wait to see him run the America First Party. Let's flip and go. This was interesting. Winter is Coming says, wow, what a great debate. My first time watching Pushing the Limits show. That's Brian Shapiro's show. You youngins know what you're talking about. I normally agree with Brian, but you guys opened my eyes and made perfect sense. I'm 65 and it takes a lot to change my mind. You guys did it. We need more smart guys like you. Hearing you youngins talk gives me hope for our country. Thank you. I'm now a new subscriber. This message makes 0 sense. Brian Shapiro streamed it to his channel. And although the user says my first time watching the Pushing the Limits show, it's Pushing the Limits with Brian Shapiro. It's his show. And you later say, I normally agree with Brian, so you must know something about the show. You must have seen it sometime. And to be fair, Brian Shapiro, he does radio. So maybe this guy knows him from radio. But like, what's up with that? And then I love he ends it. I'm now a new subscriber. Oh, you liked what we were saying so much? You said that we convinced you? We changed your mind? So why are you subscribing to Brian? What the freak is up with that? Anyway, Shapiro got destroyed by Kai. Hey, one day you're going to be able to say that, but about a different Shapiro. Okay, on Jose Onfroy. Mandatory Beamer check-in. Let's go, Willie TV. Let's flip and go. All right, well, let's yeah, here it is. Funny how they made him look mad in the thumbnail. Never seen Kai mad before. Can't say the same with Brian. True. He got jovial mogged. Brian got cooked. Okay, I swear these comments weren't all like this. They were not all my Glazers before. Where is this? Kai needs to enlist. I'm against the war in Iran. What is going on, bro? People are asking when Sean Kelly's going to release this. It usually takes about a month. What, dude, this guy, this Iceman guy, look at this guy's comments. Hey, kids. Oh, hold on. Dude, we lost it. It's so over. It is so over. Yeah, here it is. Hey, kids. Trump, 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 Trumpy, Trump, Trump. Hey, kids, the facts do not care about your feelings. Like, bro, what is going on? And then you look at this guy's account. Dang it. Hold on. I want to be able to pull up his, his other comments. It's this Iceman guy. Here it is. Comments on this channel. He commented, Kai should loosen his tie. He looks like he needs more oxygen to his little immature brain. Good job, Brian. Need your voice out here doing what you do. These two kids seem so entitled and out of touch. Does he know? Does he know? Does he know? Does he know? Does Iceman 361 IFY? Does he know? Anyway, so that was funny. What else do we have here? What the Sigma? You only care about Orange Man bad? True. What else do we have here? These two kids seem so entitled. There it is. These two kids seem so entitled and out of touch. Why shouldn't Omar be deported when it's the law? But what about 10 years ago when Trump said the P word? What with Brian? Stop running. What? Anyway, so I don't know what this guy's saying in the beginning, but he says, it'll be on our economy. It's Brian's version of the Dow is at 50,000. That's so funny, dude. Okay, this guy's spurging out too in the comments. Holy cow. I don't know what it is, guys. These radio... Holy moly, this guy sent a lot of messages. He's on our side, though, so I can't even get that mad. What is this? This channel is nothing but echo chamber MAGA hate slop over and over and over and over, blah, 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 over and over and over and over, blah, 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 blah. Nothing positive, no truth that goes against his narrative. Just food for leftists who swear that they aren't the brainwashed ones. Any video that shows MAGA positively, this audience won't watch. And because it feels wrong. Bro, what? Dude, what's going on? Hey, Jake Butters, hey, thank you for reminding me. We'll end this. I didn't want to take up too much time just talking about that debate. It was super crazy. It was like super, super redonkulous. It was kind of super, super redonkulous, but I don't want to spend too much time. And Jake Butters in the chat actually reminded me of something very important, which is if you would like to support the show, if you like the debates, watch that debate, of course. And then as soon as it's up on Sean Mike Kelly's, I'm going to be putting it up on YouTube as well. Dude, Brenosh the GOAT. But yeah, if you'd like to support the show, two really good ways of doing that. The best, the very best, which also gives you an opportunity to engage with the stream, is powerchat.live/kaiclips. You can send in a super chat there, and then I will also be reading your messages there. So that's the best thing to do. I want to thank, by the way, there's some guy with a Desnat name, with a Deseret alphabet name. Thank you for subscribing. And Mario Choi, thank you as well for subscribing. But yeah, the super chats are the best way to go. Brenosh sent the right link down there, powerchat.live/kaiclips. Send a super chat and we'll read your messages very quickly. Very quickly. Right after the stream. So, anyways, this is I think, a good segue, as good as it gets. Oh, the other one, Gumroad. Yeah, there's a Gumroad account. Be sure you're subscribed to the Gumroad. The Gumroad has access to content that I have had up for years that does not exist anywhere else. So be sure to subscribe there. That's going to be in the link, in the bio, in the link tree. Go to the Gumroad if you want more content. And we've got a lot of fun stuff coming out soon. I really want to break into this YouTube scene. YouTube seems to be the place where if you're willing to invest the time, this is like where you can make good goy bucks, and you can also ball out crazy style. And it's pretty good at audience retention. You know, TikTok sucks, Instagram's pretty good, YouTube has good audience retention. So that's going to be the plan. Is we're going to be going hard on YouTube, but all of those YouTube videos will be uploaded first on the Gumroad, so be sure to just subscribe over there. Anyway, let's get into this article, because this is pretty crazy. Let's read about it. Huge win. We'll get into a little bit of the kind of meta-analysis, get into the more meta questions, no pun intended, about social media and everything else. This is really a white pill. The fact that we have now judicial precedent regarding injuries being caused by social media, this is really, really good precedent, and I really hope it puts some pressure on these social media companies. We're in a digital age. We all know that. The biggest problem I've always had is that technology is not an option. It's not one of those things that you will be able to opt out of so easily. And I think about, you know, a child now growing up, or if you're a parent, you've got kids, you got young kids. Imagine telling your kid that you don't want them to have a phone until they're at least a teen. All of their friends at school are going to have cell phones. Your kid is going to be the odd one out, the only one. And when we were kids, we were all the odd one out in some way or another, I imagine. For me, it was like I couldn't buy a lot of video games. My parents had a rule. My dad had a rule more specifically that said, hey, you can buy games. First, they can't be inappropriate. You can't be too bloody. You can't have any nudity. Very good rules. But the other rule was like, if you buy a game, you shouldn't buy another for several months so that you can actually, get what you're paying for with this game. That is something I'm absolutely going to be implementing when I'm a parent. That is a fantastic parenting strategy. And what it allowed me to do is appreciate the games that I had way more than some of my peers who would buy one game after another and another and another. Dude, I 100% completed Just Cause 3 probably twice just because of that. Just because of that. So yeah, this kind of idea that children will be alienated from their peers if their parents decide to put limits, it's very troublesome. And that is the trend of technology. Technology creates a structure of dependency, and it so wholly consumes the zeitgeist, and so wholly consumes just the attention of the time that it becomes impossible for parents to raise their children without, exposing their children to a world of technology and information access that children frankly are just not equipped to handle. And that's a big problem, dude. That's a big problem. But we'll read through this case and then we'll read a little bit of philosophy. You guys want to philosophize? We'll be reading from a philosopher who killed people, but that's how you know he's a true believer. We're not going to agree with everything he says. Certainly not. We do not condone violence at all. I want to make that very clear before we even get into him. But I think it is important to read. But let's read here from the New York Times. This is Meta and YouTube found negligent in landmark social media addiction case. A jury found that the company's... Oh, hold on. Here we go. The social media company Meta and the video streaming service YouTube harmed a young user with design features that were addictive and led to her mental health distress. A jury found on Wednesday a landmark decision that could open social media companies to more lawsuits over users' well-being. Sign me up. Free money hack? Free money glitch? Sign me up. Oh, what's going on, Casual American Media? Yeah, we'll make you a mod. We'll make you a mod. Of course we'll make you a mod. Don't go crazy, though. Don't go crazy. Alrighty, here we go. We'll keep reading. Sorry, I got distracted. Meta must pay 4.2 million in combined compensatory and punitive damages, and YouTube must pay 1.8 million. The bellwether case, which was brought by a now 20-year-old woman identified as KGM, it's soon to be KNS, Kai Nicholas Schwemmer, low-key, had accused social media companies of creating products as addictive as cigarettes or digital casinos, citing features like infinite scroll and algorithmic recommendations. KGM sued Meta, which owns Instagram and Facebook and Google's YouTube, claiming they led to anxiety and depression. The verdict in KGM's case, one of thousands of lawsuits filed by teenagers, school districts, and state attorneys and state attorney generals against Meta, YouTube, TikTok, and Snap, which owns Snapchat, was a major win for the plaintiffs. The finding validates a novel legal theory that social media sites or apps can cause personal injury. It is likely to factor into similar cases expected to go to trial this year, which could expose the internet giants to further financial damages and force changes to their products. The personal liability argument draws inspiration from a legal playbook used against Big Tobacco last century, in which lawyers argued that the companies created addictive products that harmed users. The companies have largely dodged legal threats by citing a federal shield called Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act of 1996, which protects them from liability for what their users post. TikTok and Snap both settled with the plaintiff for undisclosed terms before the trial started. Wednesday's verdict follows a ruling this week by a New Mexico jury in another case brought by the state attorney general there, which found Meta liable for violating state law by failing to safeguard users of its apps from child predators. That jury decided on Tuesday that Meta should pay $375 million in that case. Isn't that crazy stuff? What's next here? The trial in California Superior Court in Los Angeles County began last month, with the jury of 7 women and 5 men taking more than a week of deliberation to reach its verdict. The $6 million in financial damages are a drop in the bucket for Meta and YouTube's parent company, Google, which bring in billions in revenue every quarter. But the lawyers, parents, and consumer interest groups supporting plaintiffs and other suits hailed the jury's decision as a major step to rein in social media giants. This is the first time in history a jury has heard testimony by executives and seen internal documents that we believe prove those companies chose profits over children, said Joseph Von Sant, one of KGM's lawyers. We respectfully disagree with the verdict and are evaluating our legal options, Meta spokeswoman said. Google also said it disagreed with the verdict and plans to appeal. This case misunderstands YouTube, which is a responsibly built streaming platform, not a social media site, said Jose Castañeda, a Google spokesman. The cases have been compared to those against Big Tobacco last century when Philip Morris and R.J. Reynolds were accused of hiding information about the harms of cigarettes. The companies reached a $206 billion master settlement with more than 40 states in 1998 that led to an agreement to stop marketing to minors. Strict tobacco regulations and a decline in smoking followed. Though the California Superior Court of Los Angeles County verdict is an initial victory against the tech giants, legal experts said it was unclear if the decision would represent a similar turning point. Eight other cases brought by individual plaintiffs are slated to go to trial there. A set of federal cases brought by states and school districts in Oakland, California, at the U.S. District Court of Northern California are scheduled for jury trials this summer. There's a long road ahead, but this decision is quite significant, said Clay Calvert, a non-resident senior fellow at the American Enterprise Institute, a center-right think tank, and expert on media law. If there are a series of verdicts for plaintiffs, it will force the defendants to reconsider how they design social media platforms and how they deliver content to minors. So, hey, that is a huge win. What we've got is wins across the board. And now this kind of new precedent that is going to be used against social media tech conglomerates who market, certainly, their applications towards children. I'm going to be honest. We have to step in here. I know this is like, maybe a Karen thing. I know this is like oh, you're just like a mom. You're very worried. And I know when I was a kid, I would have hated this argumentation. But it is true that social media is absolutely addictive, and it is absolutely harmful to individuals' mental health, to their sense of self, and absolutely to their perceptions politically and of the world. Maybe, we get lucky. You get some good edits out there, and it begins to kind of radicalize people. It begins to, kind of wake up inside them this fire, this zeal for being based, for saying base things, for liking, more controversial politics. But at the end of the day, if you look at the reason why there's been such broad liberalization of young generations in particular, it is because social media is absolutely the most powerful and effective tool of propaganda. And especially when you are talking to people who are looking to fit in some place, the activist cultures of social media, the ones where people are posting black squares for their profile pictures, the ones where you join up in an online, group on Roblox, on DeviantArt, I don't know, on any of these websites, they are all incredibly, they're all incredibly oppressive on the mind and absolutely are shaping the way that young people think. Maybe Harry Potter is up there with something else that's very mind warping. But technology is far and away, and social media is far and away the biggest culprit here. And we went over a little bit ago, what was it in Australia? The ban on social media for minors under the age of 16. I thought that was fantastic. You want to talk to me about what is some legislation that we could push through? That is what you push through. It should be incredibly easy to tell with the algorithms as proficient and as addictive as they are. A young person below the age of 16, certainly, maybe 18, should absolutely not have access to an algorithm so harmful and addictive. So absolutely, day one, boom, easy. You have to put a limit. You have to be able to say that if you are under the age of 16, you don't get to be on social media. Second, you have to get phones out of schools. I understand, and this is, a counter argument, by the way, to what we were saying before about the way that technology comes in and takes control of every sector of life that it begins to touch. What is important is you have to bring learning back to what it is. You have to create environments that are specifically tech-free. If you can't do that, you cede the ground. It is lost ground in a culture war that is going to more efficiently plant ideas in the mind of youth than any school teacher ever could. You cannot cede that ground. You cannot sacrifice that ground to a bunch of tech conglomerates who are not ideological. These people care about money. And this is the angle, by the way, of the question of capitalism. Capitalism is working extremely well in this case, where the pressure of the market to produce more revenue, to add more value, not even necessarily add more value, but to produce more revenue, more consumers, more return buyers. The success is unparalleled. It's like that article just said. This $375 million that they've had to pay in New Mexico, that is a drop in the bucket for this company that brings in billions of dollars annually. Just Meta. You don't even have to go into Snap. You don't even have to go into, these other tech companies. You don't have to go into any of that. Just looking at Meta, just looking at YouTube, billions of dollars in revenue are being generated every single year. And that's what the market does. The issue is that the market is never going to try and orient itself towards any kind of good, any kind of moral good, that is. There comes a time where what the market will want is for you to be sat down in a chair 24 hours of the day with a machine pleasuring you, with drugs being driven into your veins, and with an Oculus Rift or 3D virtual reality headset glued to your eyes so you don't ever have to confront the reality of the world that you live in. And so long as you can do all of that and keep paying for it, as long as that keeps generating them revenue, it will be better. The marriages that are broken up because of technology addiction, the children who kill themselves because of their exposure to hundreds of thousands of people, like eyes on them since they've been 13 years old on social media. The number of, what's her name? Raquel Piper, Bad Baby, Lil Tay, the number of young women who will be groomed into becoming prostitutes the day they turn 18 because that was the lifestyle that was being impressed upon them on social media. All of that is simply effective marketing. It's a positive feedback loop that generates more and more revenue for all of these companies. And for that reason, all of it can be disregarded. Like, none of these issues are real issues for a company. There must be some kind of human capitalism. I am not against capitalism. Do not get me wrong. I am not against capitalism. It is the most efficient way of structuring an economy. It has lifted many people out of poverty. But the question is this: lifted them out of poverty to what? Am I excited to get lifted up out of poverty because now I can afford an iPhone? Because an iPhone is my standard of living? My standard of living is contained in a little thing like this? That if I don't have an iPhone, my standard of living is worse? Frankly, I think if I didn't have this, my standard of living would be better. I think I'd be a happier person without it. And so the question again is, lifted up to what? You want to take people out of poverty? That's awesome. But don't take them out of poverty just so they can be morally and intellectually impoverished, so that they become, victims of propaganda, victims of these man-made horrors beyond our comprehension, so that they can become cogs in a revenue-generating machine in perpetuity. There's always an important question. There's always an important question of why. And I don't think we've been answering that question very well. I don't think we've been able to separate the online, the technological, from the real, the physical, the interpersonal. I'm very wary of it. And so I'd like to read, dude, my stomach hurts so bad. I'd like to read a little bit of philosophy. This is important. This concerns freedom. This concerns freedom. There we go. While technological progress as a whole, this is from a book, a little essay, there's some other word for it, written by T.J. Kaczynski. He was a Harvard professor. This is paragraph 128. It says, while technological progress as a whole continually narrows our sphere of freedom, each technical advance considered by itself appears to be desirable. Electricity, indoor plumbing, rapid long-distance communications. How can one argue against any of those things? Or against any of the other innumerable technological advances that have made modern society? It would have been absurd to resist the introduction of the telephone. For example, it offered many advantages and no disadvantages. Yet, as we explained in paragraphs 59 through 76, all these technical advances taken together have created a world in which the average man's fate is no longer in his own hands or in the hands of his neighbors and friends, but in those of politicians, corporation executives, and remote anonymous technicians and bureaucrats whom he as an individual has no power to influence. The same process will continue in the future. Take genetic engineering, for example. Few people will resist the introduction of genetic technique that eliminates a hereditary disease. It does no apparent harm and prevents much suffering. Yet a large number of genetic improvements taken together will make the human being into an engineered product rather than a free creation of chance or of God or whatever, depending on your religious belief. So freaking real. And I think this is what people don't understand is like, there is no turning back the clock. And this is why you have to be a conservative. You have to be a conservative because you have to be suspicious of change. You must. If you value anything in this society right now, you must be suspicious of change. You must be suspicious of the ramifications of even completely mundane changes. Even completely, seemingly benevolent changes. Changes to technology that appear to only improve our lives will open up a path to the rewriting and redefinition of what it means to be a human being. When there are brain cells put in a petri dish taken from stem cells of the foreskin of circumcised babies, when those stem cells are able to be put in a petri dish and taught how to play video games, taught how to play Doom, we must seriously confront the question, what is humanity? Where do we draw the line? And where will we ever put a pause on the march of technological progress? Where, if ever? This is such a problem, dude. Think about, just conceptualize that, by the way. You've got the atrocity of babies being circumcised against their will, against their free will. Who asked the baby if he wanted a part of his penis cut off? They didn't ask me. Tell you that, they didn't ask me. And they take the stem cells from it and they put them in a petri dish. And what do they teach it to do? What do you teach this creature to do? You teach it how to play a video game about killing. You teach it to play like the most classically violent video game ever. Are we so serious, dude? How does this not end up in some kind of dystopian catastrophe? Like, I don't know, dude. What does that say about the human condition? Oh, we're about to, show the power of these stem cells that we've harvested from, the foreskin of children. Oh, awesome. It's going to have a very powerful computing capacity, which will help us in some of our technological endeavors. What do we want to teach it to do? Let's teach it how to play a game about killing. Let's teach it how to play a game about killing with blood all over the place. Oh, so that thing? Yeah, no, that's a lot of computing power. What does it need to learn how to do? To murder, to kill, to destroy, pump shotgun. That's what we need it to do. Like, that is actually insane. You have to ask yourself, is this really progress? And the point here, which is so important, which outlines, maybe the more limited government side of the conservative perspective, it is that your fate, your life is no longer decided by you. Your life will be decided the same way the lives of so many Ukrainians and Russians and, people around in the surroundings of the Chernobyl power plant, nuclear power plant. Your life will be decided just like theirs was, by the decisions of people who you do not even know, who you did not vote for, who you have never met in your entire life, who made a mistake, either in the treatment of water, in the production of food, or in pressing a button that they shouldn't have pressed. That's who gets to decide the trajectory of your life. It's not you anymore. I know you love to look out for your family, but at the end of the day, it's no longer going to be whether or not you know how to shoot a gun. It's going to be, are you lucky or unlucky enough to live next to some chemical plant next to the Great Salt Lake, which is evaporating? Are you lucky or unlucky enough to live in an area either free of or completely riddled with toxic waste? That is what your life will be decided. That is what it hinges on. That is how it will be decided. So I don't know, man. I'm going to be honest, the whole technology question, it is a little blackpilling because, like I said, it's this positive feedback loop. Because it is so tied in with revenue. It is so tied in with markets. And markets they just see green. They just see green. It's tough, man. But hey, let's read through the chat. I can't really go too long. Genuinely, my stomach hurts so bad. It is horrible. Somebody tell me what I can do to soothe my stomach, please. Please. I don't want Brenosh says, I don't want my foreskin cranking 90s. Dude, could you imagine your foreskin's out there cranking 90s? That's crazy. That is crazy. Well, hey, let's jump into our super chats if we have any. I know this was a short show. I know I didn't give much heads up, but I'd like to thank you guys all for being here. I'd like to thank Brenosh, Latter Day Beamer, Sophia, Lisa, P.F. Frampton, or P. Frampton. You have to let me know if I said that all right. Mormon Girl 007, let's freaking go. Yeah, Mormon Girl 007 is right. Literally taking away our agency. So freaking true. W, thank you as well for being here. Chiaraz, Meow Groiper's here. We love Meow Groiper. What a wholesome guy. What a wholesome guy. And who else do we have here? Got some B Mets in the chat. Yo, B Mets in the chat? Is that real? Some queen bees? Well, we shouldn't call him a queen bee. That's a bit of a problem. Yo, Cactus Spartan? Good to see you as well. Cactus, I actually agree with you. I actually agree with you about nuclear energy. I like nuclear as well. I'm a little black-pilled on this whole tech question. The name says, should we invest so much of our future in technology which will inevitably fail? I see, the issue is you should never put your trust in the arm of flesh or in the arm of tech, to use the scriptural language. Yeah, I think it'll inevitably fail. And I think the problem is that we can't conceive of a future. We can't even conceive of important life without this rapid technological progress. And I just think that's wrong. I just think that's a totally wrong way of looking at it. Yo, Sneaks, good to see you in the chat, Sneaks. Long time no see, big guy. And let's go to our super chats here. Oh man, we had a super chat. I wonder if it'll play. It might not. Yeah, I don't think it will. We had a super chat from Jake Butters. Thank you, Jake. Appreciate you, big guy. Jake Butters says, realist Utah on Ja. He sends a 5. Well, thank you, man. I appreciate you. I appreciate you, twin. Thank you so much, Jake. Much appreciated. Much appreciated. Shiraz, what did Shiraz say? I plan to write an essay of my own. An essay about what? Oh, tomorrow as well. I'm going to be debating the college Democrats at BYU. That's going to be exciting, actually. That's going to be really exciting. I'm going to be debating about immigration. Oh, dude, I'm actually so hyped. I'm actually so hyped about that. Man, dude, I'm feeling like queasy. This is not good. But hey, yeah, can we get a cat in the chat for Meow Groiper? I agree, cat in the chat. Let's get a cat in the chat, guys. Kaiclips salute in the chat. Oh, Meow Groiper, let's go. Meow sends $10. What a goat.
Meow
and he says meow.
Meow.
Aww. Thanks, man. I love you, big guy. Love you, Meow. And this time he didn't send 10 hours of cat meows. This time he didn't send 10 full hours. I mean, it cuts it down to only 3 or 5 minutes. But this time he doesn't send a whole entourage of meows. He doesn't send the cat posse with him. He doesn't send the whole litter. This time Meow Groiper didn't send the whole litter with him in a super chat. Yo, what's up, Clementine? What's up, Camilla Cross? The essay will perhaps be on the strategies for the right wing going forward. That'd be good. That'd be good. We need some strategies. Dude, you know, I was talking with a guy the other day. The corruption issues, we really got to get past them. Everybody is really put off. Everybody's really put off by the issue of the Epstein files. And it's not as much of a what would it be, a something burger? It's not as much of a something burger as many people believe. The problem is it's an optical disaster. And Democrats have weaponized it so well. Viva El Faro says, one time I drank so much mate I threw up. I think that's what's happening to me. I think it's the mate, dude. I think my stomach was unprepared to have mate this morning. And it's killing me. Dude, no way. Okay, we gotta watch this, guys. We gotta watch this. We gotta watch this. Drewski just did a video about Erica Kirk. Okay, we gotta watch this actually. Oh man. Goodness glorpus. Oh, hold on. Hold on, gentlemen. My apologies. My apologies. We gotta watch this though. Yo! Latter-day Beamer.
Latter-day Beamer sent $5. Did you know Donald Trump's name is mentioned more times in the Epstein files than Jesus Christ is named in the Bible? Literally lost brain cells listening to that guy. Mog Joel Berry at CPAC like you did to Dean.
Oh, dude, hey. Thank you, man. Thank you so much. Latter-day Beamer, we love you, big guy. Yeah, no, that was so frustrating. And then he was like, well, what I said isn't wrong. It's like, dude, you know that what you said is misleading. If I tell somebody so-and-so's name is mentioned more in this than so-and-so's name is mentioned in this, the immediate thought is proportions. The immediate thought is proportions. Of course, if you're pulling from a document that has 3 million pages, of course there will be more instances of any word than a document that doesn't even have 1 million words. The Bible doesn't even have 1 million words. And the Epstein files have 3 million pages of files. Like, these are so incomparable. The fact that he tried to act like he was still telling the truth is just so ridiculous. So, yeah, no, I lost some brain cells too. It was a good debate. Like, we got along. But it was just, it always went back to Trump. And it was also just like, this guy just did not, he unironically, I asked him, this was what I was going to say earlier. I asked him when we were talking about hypotheticals, I said, well, how would you feel if you hadn't eaten breakfast this morning? And he said, well, I actually didn't eat breakfast this morning. And I just stood there just like baffled. I just sat there baffled, like, did anybody else just pick up on what just happened? I don't know. That was insane. That was insane. So, and then there's the other whole argument, and I hate it because everybody read what I said, or everybody saw that video and they think that I'm like Trump shilling. That's not what I'm doing. What I'm doing is I'm refuting poor argumentation, and I would do that no matter who it was. And I would do that no matter who it was. Whether it's Trump, whether it's Clinton, whether it's whoever. I'm just refuting poor argumentation. Do we have to be BYU students to watch your debate? I don't think so. I think you can watch no matter what. Just show up. I don't think they're going to check your ID. Maybe they will. I don't know. Probably not. Yeah, you guys should come. It's at the Joseph Smith building. It's at the JSB in the big auditorium at 7 p.m. tomorrow. All right, well, here is the Jaruski video. Let's see this.
Get on your feet, boy!
Raging in Iran.
We're praying for all the soldiers and troops.
That's great that you're praying, but
how about all the kids that died when the USA hit the towers?
It broke my heart. That is the
Dude, the makeup's actually crazy. The makeup is actually crazy. I already know conservative Twitter's gonna have a heyday with this video.
In what ways have you grown closer to Jesus?
I serve a righteous God. And that is why we say our prayers.
Okay, that bit's really good, actually.
But when I say children, I mean like the holy, blessed Trinity, which is why I hold the Bible.
That bit was really good. Who's that supposed to be? Who do you think it's supposed to be, Papa Clutch? Papa Clutch, who do you think this is supposed to be? Who could this conceivably be? Other than Erica Kirk. Papa Clutch, who could this even conceivably be?
Sweet cream foam chai ice matcha. And Bella will have all organic pop cup. Organic? Yes, everything organic. Oh, say does that star spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free.
4, 3, 7. Oh, Hannah, you good? 4.
Pilates, real, checks out.
2. Hold your chest lifted. We're gonna lift.
We have to protect all men in America, especially all white men in America. Those are the boys that we care about in this country.
That's kind of funny.
America is built on their backs. Yes.
That's kind of
Because
funny.
they are the ones who mattered most.
That is actually keg. That's actually okay. That last bit's funny. That last bit is funny. And I know, dude, conservatives they're gonna be livid about this. Is it insensitive? Absolutely. Is some of it like kind of objectively funny? Yeah. Is it that funny? No, not really. Not really. The whole like, I'll have the matcha with the organic milk, with the soy milk, with the bean milk. I hate that. That's just like the most tired, overplayed joke of all time. But I'm not going to sit here. I'm not going to sit here and be like, but he did whiteface. I literally couldn't care less that Jaruski did whiteface. I literally could not care less that Jaruski did whiteface. He pulls it off. He pulls it off super well. You see the hands? You see his hands? Like, look at this. Hold on. You see this guy's hands? Those are white. That's crazy. Yeah, that's nuts. He pulls it off really well. So, anyways, gentlemen, I think that's where we're going to have to leave it. Dude, Loker genuinely, I am feeling sicko mode. Like, I'm not good, dude. I mean, not that bad. Don't worry, I'm not gonna die. I'm not gonna die, don't worry, but... Oh, and Latter Day Beamer had said something else. Said, Mog Joel Berry at CPAC. Joel Berry's gonna be at No freaking way, dude. Is Joel Berry gonna be at CPAC? Dude, if Joel Berry's gonna be at CPAC, he DM'd me. Joel Berry DM'd me. You guys know about that? You guys know about that lore? Is Joel Berry gonna be at CPAC? Oh, Jeremy Boring just lost. He just launched a show. It's just him sitting on a couch with his dog next to him. Okay. Is he gonna be at CPAC? Let me see. Make sure to give the vid a like. Yeah, do that. You think he's gonna assault me? Alright, I can't find anything about it. Well, let me know. I'll definitely... I'll talk to him. I'll talk to him in person. Hey, Joel, why'd you give a 45-minute speech about me? Meet him in the crosswalk. Real. Well, hey, yeah, everybody... Hey, smash that like button. Hey, smash that like button. Smash that subscribe button. Smash that share button. Smash all the buttons, gentlemen. Why do you have a fever? I don't think so. I don't think I have a fever. I think I'm fine. All right, yeah, but hey, everybody liked the video. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We'll get into a more regular stream of content soon. Once I'm feeling a little bit better too. But hey, love you guys so much. Love you guys so much. Hope you